2 last year. We didn't see his best level yesterday. Today we saw a very different story out of him. Lucas, on the other hand, has been kind of a number 2, but this is World Finals. This is where you go to the big stuff.
Yeah, and honestly, what it really comes down to there was really good deck decision making. I think that Lucas coach Allen really put together a great deck, and I don't know if there really is a way for Pedro to win this. He tried everything. He dropped down the defensive borders, taking advantage of the lack of Lucas spell. He tried double defensive plus offensive mortar. Maybe there's a way an evil mortar on offense can get value, but it just didn't seem like he had a way to break through.
And now this is the moment where that coaching comes into play. These guys have progressions all planned out for these moments, and this is a big matchup here, not just between Lucas and Pedro, but also their coaches, Alan and Jebas, who have a long-standing rivalry that can get once in a while, and you know they're both back there hoping they've prepared to go get the win, the money, and the bragging rights.
Looking at deck number 1 yet again, I said it before, I'll say it again, no spells in Lucas' deck. Yes, that might seem like a disadvantage when you see all of this kind of bait element in Pedro's deck as well, but it allows you to just cram in even more offensive potential with the Dark Goblin, with the Gang, with the Skellies, the Ice Spear for Quick Cycle, plus the Princess. How do you deal with everything with just arrows?
Well, what this really does as well is make the decision-making process for Pedro very difficult. If you look at these deck progressions that they plan out, a lot of the times it's, if arrows played in game 1, we do this in game 2. If log in game 1, here's what we do in game 2. You play no spells, your deck progression situation is based off of what? You had the Goblinstein out there? What are you making that plan based on?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. Now, Pedro's even in a worse situation where he has no idea what kind of deck that Lucas could play next because he has so many different spells available to him. I mean, the only thing to really note is you can't really play a Hog Rider or Pig's Quick Cycle because of the Skellies and Ice Spear being gone.
Well, these guys are certainly taking every second available to them for this big moment. Lucas has been in these moments against Brazilians before. Rewind back to 2022 when he faced Samuel on this very stage. Looked a little different, a little more green that time around than the beautiful blue and red and black we have this time. But he has
a number 2 for this elimination match.
A big guessing game here for Pedro. Keep in mind, only the one spell, the arrows, played on Pedro's side. So Lucas doesn't have a ton of information. But, of course, we have now seen how deep you can go into this deck pool and still have difficulty trying to pick it. Pedro goes Ice Spirit to open into the Electro.
And here's the Raymart as well. Lucas with some sort of Raymart deck. It could be Mega Knight, it could be Backup, or even Recruits as we've seen today.
We've seen a lot of Ice Wiz this weekend so far. I think far more than many would anticipate. What do you attribute that to, Juicy?
Yeah, it really comes down to that small splash radius buff it got just a month or 2 ago. You know, I really didn't think it would be that big of a difference maker, but that splash radius makes its splash radius actually larger than even the Baby Dragon. So that solid splash plus how cheap it is makes it a very solid card.
And seeing the work on the left-hand side, Lucas puts some pressure on the right. Firecracker will get some crosswise chip damage to open up that lead a bit more. 24-56 on the right-hand lane with the first minute of play having passed.
Yeah, and you can see Lucas shake his head just a little bit there. He's really not happy about this King Tower activation. Usually you use Firecracker where a King Tower activation might not matter too much, but when you're playing with a Mega Knight and a Ram Rider beatdown-esque push, you need to break through, and that King Tower makes it just a little bit more difficult.
Inferno Dragon coming up against the Monk. The Monk can get reflection here, but it's not worth much as that it's a direction Inferno plus Lightning. And you see Pedro just getting ready with those guards for the push.
Fisherman's down, it will not get distracted by the Electro Spirit. I like what you're saying here. I thought it was going to connect too, but the Ice Wizard, once again, showing its prowess, slowing it down, making it work.
And for a moment, you really thought that was Lucas trying to get against the Fisherman high. Of course, quite famously back in the CRL teams days, it was Lucas Fisherman to pull a Hog Rider against the God. got RF. Goblins at the bridge. Happened. He was trying to repeat that in his favor. Ram Rider will connect. Evo Mega Knight's going to work. Firecracker coming in, trying to get the connection, does not quite touch either. Dual lane damage for Lucas as we go into sudden death.
And Pedro is finally trying to make an offensive attack work. Evo, Rolojai at the bridge with the Monk taking. That's one shot. Do we see two? Yes, we see two. Wait, the Fisherman's pulling as well.
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh, so much damage.
That is insane. It gets one more for 69. Ram Rider does connect. And oh my word, we have a fight on our hands, Juice.
Ice Wizard is counter pushing. I mean, Lucas, if he's gonna win this, he needs to get one good push going, but he reveals the fireball. One more fireball.
And now can this Ram Rider get through in time? The fireball's there. GG, well played. Game number 3 on its way.
Oh my gosh, Rich. Every single game today is going down to the wire, it feels like. Lucas was going to get it because of the Inferno Drag. Inferno Drag is the best counter to Monk. It's also very solid versus Royal Giant. And that's why Royal Giant normally uses Electro Spirit. But with the Ice Spirit, it's not able to chain to get the Inferno Drag every time. I think Lucas has the matchup advantage here, but Pedro somehow, someway making it work with that Monk to tank everything.
Inferno Dragon and Goblinstein both out for Lucas. Does that open up the possibility in this moment?
Yeah, I think it could be possible, but you just always have to be aware that there's also, other buildings and stuff that can really affect a Lava Hound matchup. I mean, Lava Hound is just so matchup dependent, in my opinion, that I'd be really nervous for either of these players to play it, because if you're ready for the Lava Hound, it won't work.
Delivery, arrows, log, fireball, poison, all that still open. Fortro has played the arrows, fireball, and log so far as his Monk and Goblinstein both gone for Pedro. And on the side of Lucas, we did not see a champion in that matchup, and only the Goblinstein gone so far.
Yes, we've seen a lot of champions today, or just also in the tournament in general. We've seen Arch Queen, we've seen Monk, we've even seen some Little Prince. I mean, there's a lot of options for 3-card cycle with any of these champions that are actually very viable. I love this meta for this World Finals.
With Firecracker gone, with Skeletons gone, it's unlikely for a Hog, but, we'll see what these players and their coaches cooked up. The swing game coming up right now. The kind of place where you think of Lucas going cycle, given the spells he has available, but a lot of the support cards, the cycle cards, not there for him. Of course, we went through an era where Goblins was the major cycle card, but that was before Evo Skelly and a Heal Spirit?
Heal Spirit, I mean, maybe, with E Spirit and I Spirit out, he's trying to give his deck a little bit of an extra amount or less elixir added to it. Flying Machine Heal Spirit, it makes me think of some sort of fireball bait deck.
Log was open, and there it is. Tesla being played by Pedro. Not the Evo version, which is interesting.
Fisherman as well. I mean, this could be Recruits things. It could be something else. After seeing the Zappies, though, this looks like a pretty old school Recruits Piggies deck.
Fireball out, that flying machine's going to be annoying for Pedro to deal with. Obviously, the poison does help to a certain degree, but we'll see how much Lucas can abuse that flying machine today.
Yeah, and I think it has a lot of potential, too, with the poison kind of bait going on here. The flying machine is going to be that X factor to break through. On the other hand, we have Pedro just running with one of his most solid decks, one of the best decks, the deck that really pushed him forward towards the runner-up last year. Good old Miner Poison.
Slow build in some of these defenses.
Yeah, and I look at the decks, we actually saw Pedro use Miner in game 1, so maybe a Drill Poison? I mean, I don't see another option for win condition that could work here.
Goes to cover on the right, 6-man splits, 3-3.
versus the Mega Knight. Mega Knight gonna be super useful versus the recruits as well. I mean, looking at this matchup, I feel like Pedro's got a very nice advantage. It's all just going to depend if he can really put it together. We saw him play Minor Poison yesterday and struggle to break through.
So far, the Poison Chip on the right-hand side doing a good job. 2576, the mark for Lucas's tower on your top right. Now here come Evo recruits way out in front. What does Lucas have in store behind this? Royal Giant to the right-hand lane.
Wow, now recruits bigs, recruits Royal Giant. Tesla dropping down yet again with the Barbarian. Gonna deal quite nicely. I mean, that Mega Knight though, I feel like that Mega Knight, especially the Evo, will be really good at knocking that Evo Royal Giant backwards.
The Heal Spirit, such an interesting choice. We've seen people really try to go outside of expectations. How do you feel about that Heal Spirit call?
I actually love the Heal Spirit call. It synergizes really well with Royal Giant specifically because you can almost always guarantee the Heal Spirit to jump because of how close the Evo Royal Giant is to the bridge.
And the Poison working more. Flying Machine to get the, and there's just what you talked about, the Mega Knight knocking that Evo RG all the way back across the bridge.
And this Tesla's getting, sorry, not the Tesla, but the Flying Machine once again getting so much value. Even if you have Poison for it, it's not instantaneous, and he misses the pull of the Ghost though. The Ghost getting even more damage, and I just don't know how Lucas breaks through right now.
Royal Giant with the Evo recruits. Does fireball the Tesla here, snowball to hold. RG should get a couple of shots here, and these are critical shots at this stage.
Yeah, as soon as I say it, I don't know how it's possible. He makes it happen right away. Fireball the Tesla, the Heal Spirit we've been talking about. Heal Spirit might end up winning in this match.
Well, the way he can completely flood the board, on the one hand, lots of poison value available for Pedro, lots of Mega Knight drop value available for Pedro, but that also means there's a lot to cover, and this has been, so far, the story.
Yeah, the other thing that means is he can't use poison on offense, and especially with the Goblin Drill, that is going to make things difficult. Whereas on offense for Lucas, he can use that Fireball on tower in a variety of situations.
And you see how much cover was given to that Flying Machine. Now there's the poison value. Evo Mega Knight nowhere near that Royal Giant, so Drill has to come out on defense. Log to clear, Tesla to hold, and this will be a defense that holds on, but with 30 seconds left, you cannot just hold on, you have to do damage, and there comes the poison on the recruits.
He does get a poison on offense. Can he defend? He sends the Evo Drill on offense too. He doesn't have that much elixir for the Royal Giant. Goes dropping, Tesla dropping. Drill is defended. Will the RG get a hit?
Snowball in, RG gets nothing. Fireball down, poison ticking. Lucas needs a log. 2, 1, and Lucas takes it! 11:07 to 10:10, and his World Championship hopes continue.
I cannot believe what I just watched. I thought there was no way for Lucas to get damage through the Mega Knight, through the poison, through the Tesla. But as soon as I said it, the fireball drops, the Heal Spirit heals, and the Royal Giant connects for massive damage.
That was a tremendous moment, and you saw, of course, down on the field below, Lucas celebrating. We got a shot of his coach, Alan, celebrating in the stands. This duo so pumped right now, and I just want to know what Lucas has to say about this great win.
Okay, so a lot of emotions are going on right now. How do you think you did today?
I'm happy against Mel. The first game I think I did well. The second game I did 1 or 2 mistakes, so I'm not really happy about it. Versus Pedro, I feel like I should have won 2-0. Not saying that like because of Pedro's level, just because of the matchup. When I lose a good matchup, I just feel bad. And in the last game, I think I did very well, but I missed like recruits. Like last 20 seconds, people must have think like, what is this guy doing going recruits in back 20 seconds left? I just misclicked it. So I'm not really. I'm happy that I won, but I know I need to do best if I really want to win it.
So then what are you going to do tonight to make sure that you reset properly and are ready for day number 3?
I'm gonna eat some sushi and relax, I guess.
And never a bad idea. I love me some sushi. I had it yesterday, and that's why I feel like day 2 went so well for both of us. Let's send it right back up to the casters and see what...
stage. And we've seen him now go from one gut-wrenching moment that literally had Mo holding his gut in pain of how tight it was to another one on both sides of things. Either way, Lucas now moves on to our final four.
Yeah, and I love how he's got that competitive mentality to point out his own mistakes right after they just happened. But also, I'm really happy that he's able to celebrate how he was able to win a tie. You need to give yourself a pat on the back when you're due for it.
And he certainly is, and now it's just about what you can do to go to bed tonight, get ready, and also kind of be preparing a whole lot of matches. The road for these guys in the lower bracket now is really long. We're going to see the bracket here in just a minute, but Lucas is going to have to go through, well, 2 lower bracket matches, and then, of course, a world championship, and if he wins, a bracket reset. So let's take a look at what this looks like, right? So we're going to find out whether Lucas is playing sub or LCOP, and then if he wins that, he has to go play the loser of Mohammed and Riley, and then if he wins that, he has to go double win. So Mohammed might only, either Mo or Riley might only have 2 matches for tomorrow, and Lucas and whoever else is left might have to do 4 on the same time. Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot to prepare for. The other thing we don't really talk about is if you have that many more matches, your opponents get to add a little bit more of your deck preparation and have a little bit of advantage there as well.
Well, let's go ahead and see who his opponent will be as Josh sets us up for our final match of the day.
Emotions will not be shown on the stage from these 2 players. We have LCOP and we have Sub.
Sub-Zero and the Last Emperor going head-to-head for our final of our 4 spots.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this Pro Combat tournament. Wait, what? Sub-Zero and the Last Emperor? Okay, we're Clash Royale here. This is going to be a crazy one. You got to think about the adrenaline of the match that Sub is just coming off of. I mean, we were trying to figure out who we were going to interview. I had no idea as I was running to the stage. Was it going to be Riley? Was it going to be Sub? It ends up being Sub at the last moment. So you wonder, is he in the zone? Is he warmed up? Or is he shook? And then the other side of it, same thing, LCOP. He's been sitting back all day just watching, thinking, ruminating. Is he ready to go? I mean, he always has been.
He has been, but of course, we've seen kind of some strange ups and downs from LCOP, right? Some good stuff against Mo, but some interesting deck choices, and of course, maybe not his top-tier lava play. And then the match against Rico, where in game number 2, Rico just made a mistake and didn't put a win condition, maybe some nerves on the stage. So there's still a lot of questions to be answered about LCOP.
Yeah, you know, there was a lot of stuff that kind of went and fell in LCOP's favor, you know, as we were talking about, to be lucky than good. Sometimes it's better to just be both. And LCOP, you know, that very first matchup was kind of 50-50 against Mo. Second game, he was really in his element. Game 3, when he was playing Lava, he was not coordinating and putting together pushes the way that you are supposed to. Part of that is, of course, Mohammed Light making that hard, but also you got to be able to play your own game. And then honestly with Rico, just like you're talking about, Rico misreads the cannon card. Juicy Josh and I sat there, watched it frame by frame. That was just a misstep because the cannon didn't go off. And then the other thing, like you said, win condition helps in Clash Royale, Rich.
Yeah, I've heard that's usually a good idea. You thinking here at home, 56% for LCOP, 44 for Sub. And this is certainly a hard one to predict. I did not go head on this one. I went with my heart on this one.
Yeah.
And I like both these players quite a lot, but LCOP was our first champion. I picked him in this one.
Well, let's see if that champion can keep things strong or if Sub might pull off the upset. Game 1, final match of day 2. Let's go.
Time to dig deep.
If I could just see inside the minds of these players, I'm telling you, we need the heart rate wristbands. We've talked about it for years. I want to know what the heart rate is.
What if you find out it's just 45 BPM?
Meanwhile, you and me are jacked at like 140, 180.
So Mega Knight picks up the barrel easily.
And seeing LCOP already go Mega Knight Ram Rider lets me know he is ready to play in his element. That's how he wants to start this set off.
Yeah, Bridge Spam game number 1. Interesting choice for LCOP.
Interesting deck here. Curious how much that Dark Goblin's going to be a problem as this game unfolds.
So far, both guys with a clean sheet, nobody touched in our first near minute of gameplay.
Curious if this is going to be like a Princess Log situation or Princess Goblin Gang or what these last couple cards may be for Sub. You see they're already kind of showing his hand a bit there, Rich, picking up those goblins with just the guards.
You know, that's interesting. I wonder how much of that, here we see the zap.
That's exactly what I was talking about. There it is. No small spell, nothing but spam, and it's going to be really hard for LCOP to get on top of these units like the Princess and the Dark Goblin if Sub plays this correctly. And then once you are on top of those units, the overwhelm of the Goblin Gang can be absolutely brutal.
Curious to see what he does with the Goblinstein in this one, as you can definitely set it up in the back with impunity, not really worried about spells at all.
Nice timing there for Sub. The Princess shot in as LCOP sets up the Ram Rider in the back. 22, 17, 12, basically 2 untouched towers for Sub here as the Ice Wiz just gets a hair of chip damage.
Gang to the right, Princess to the left, and so far we've seen no indication that LCOP has an answer for this.
If you are wondering about buying tickets to World Finals, the Goblinstein sound alone in the room is worth it.
Yeah, right? It's Halloween indeed.
And nice lightning there to clean up, but on, and that is a good call there by LCOP as he evens things up.
Has gotten it very close. Evo Mega Knight comes out to ensure no Dark Goblin connection. And now we'll see with the Evo Mega Knight in play, LCOP sitting on 7. Can he put something together? There he goes.
And I do think this Evo Mega Knight could be a big problem, right? Because you have to have ground tanks plus the can
to open up the opportunity, open up the lane for the Dark.
Out the zap shouldn't be a problem here for guards. And that Goblinstein ability, it looked like it was maybe on tower, but it's so tough. You miscalculate that by just that half a tile. At this level, it's almost throwing the game.
Ice Wiz played low, Dark Goblin not going to get on tower here, but LCOP has a choice to make.
True Goblins on the tower,
boy.
left-hand side, zap comes out. 689 remains on LCOP's left-hand tower.
Approaching the final minute, triple elixir on its way. 6:08. And LCOP sets up to attack the weak side of Sub.
I like that call there, but it still baits out the Ice Wizard, which is not what LCOP wants to do there.
And here we go. Does that Evo Bomber know the Dark Goblin goes down just in time to avoid a bigger problem? No connection from the Evo Bomber. That has not done much for him so far. And now high cannon for the Ram Rider. But a Goblinstein does get the ability on tower.
That's what I'm saying. That Mega Knight starts taking up way too much attention on the left-hand side. Then we see the defense slip on the right. One Goblin does stay alive, gets a couple stabs in, but no spell damage. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, there is no way for them to get damage other than Princess. Today, it was neck and neck, and right here you see him hold on all the way throughout against our former world champion.
And just low on answers for this situation was LCOP.
Yeah.
Whether you're talking about the classic barrel or the split barrel, or just figuring out how you do that in a way that creates offensive opportunities, just it was never there for him.
I would have loved to see just a little bit more utilization of that Evo Bomber. It's a great job at cleaning up the barrels. There was one point where the Evo Bomber was actually in front of the Goblinstein behind. That Evo Bomber can turn the game on a dime like that. So if you just get a couple good connections there, obviously there was the moment where we were both thinking maybe that Dark Goblin gives him a setup. But in this situation, LCOP needed to find another way to get to tower other than the Ram Rider, and that's the Bomber. And the Bomber just wasn't happening.
Now looking at these decks, Lightning and Zap out for LCOP. No spells out for Sub. We saw this same story earlier today. making it a little bit harder for LCOP to deck pick. And as we've talked about, LCOP the only player who I've actually have seen him with some deck progression sheets, but I don't know if that's him working entirely on his own or how he's making these game plans.
I mean, look, man, we got no Mega Knight, we got no Bomber, we got no Goblin Stein, we got no Lightning. I'm looking for some version of Pigs, Piggy with some Archer Queen. I think it might be very predictable, but it's also still going to be incredibly frustrating to deal with, right? If you get Piggy's AQ, you start splitting those Pigs. Fireball doesn't matter anymore. You have to waste your spell power on top of the Archer Queen because you don't have Lightning. I think there's a great way here for some maybe control the pace of this match with that deck. Obviously, I've said this for 7 years. If I'm thinking about it, the analysts are getting paid to think 3 steps ahead of that. But sometimes, as we've seen before, you know what I'm going to run. I'm going to run it game 1, and I'm going to win with it. So here we go in that same situation game 2 was.
And one thing about LCOP on his run to make the championship for CRCC, the Chinese region, and qualify here, he never ran delivery one time. Never ran Log and Fireball together that entire time, right? So you think about some of those things like Piggies, and that 1-2 punch, not there in most of the deck pool he's been comfortable with.
Yeah, and then the other side of it, when you look at the spells that were used, we'll talk about this as we hop into the very next game. Elimination on the line, Sub and LCOP. Let's go. As I was saying, the spell power that was not used by Sub leaves so many things open, because there's also decks out there like Gobstein, Ramrider, Lightning that then we can be building, you know, so there's so many opportunities here for Sub to kind of build up the field.
Bit of a slow start here.
And the room's silent, just hanging on the first ball.
It's quiet. Almost too quiet.
Production telling us to never do that again.
Little earthquake cycle, and LCOP immediately sees the 3 elixir and the shake of the head from Sub.
Making me think maybe he went with Hog instead of Piggies.
Very, very likely. You never like being down 3 elixir to a P.E.K.K.A drop in the back.
And there's the AQ, so Sub going right down the line of what I was thinking, but does that mean LCOP was ready for it, as these Goblins will do great work throughout this matchup with that P.E.K.K.A, but obviously not quite as good as the guards. And LCOP, keep thinking about it, Rich. P.E.K.K.A, Fish Boy.
Oh.
Here's the things.
And you know what? If you're good at something, keep on doing it. LCOP going bridge spam. And this is devastating.
It didn't turn a game on a dime. No elixir in the tank, though, down to 1. Will get the King Tower activation, but he's going to take just as much damage from these pigs.
You know, I wonder if he made the same read that we did, that once he saw the shake of the head against, maybe he wasn't looking, but the shake of the head against the P.E.K.K.A, that he assumed that he wasn't against pigs, he was against Hog. Instead, he finds himself against pigs after that overcommit.
11:48, 14:07. Both of them throw one huge handmaker to start as we get into double elixir.
For such a slow start, this has been such a crazy pace that happened in terms of the damage.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Our goblins surround. There we go. High Mother Witch just looking for that value again. Now getting this Tesla out of cycle, that's going to be a problem. So Sub's going to have to think about, all right, how am I going to deal with the ram behind the P.E.K.K.A here from LCOP? That bomber, exactly. That bomber is a problem.
So now LCOP going to sit on that ghost maybe for the next Pigs push. Barrel comes in, nearly gets the prediction, not quite.
And you guys aren't seeing things. That is Sub's Archer Queen on the opposite side of the board, helping back on the other side of the board, which was able to stop that push.
It's like a game of dodgeball where you can shoot from the wrong side.
And getting the cycle in early, Sub already recognizing what he needs to do. He wants to win this game as soon as he can, because as this gets deeper and deeper, it's going to be a lot harder to keep up with, especially because that Mother Witch is going to start getting so much value. And that Fireball looking for goblins, I believe.
And gets the tower connection from the ghost, lead back to LCOP.
Radio bomber there. Shaking the head from Sub because he misses that piggy pull.
And this ghost might get away here. Fire Spirit to stop it, didn't need it. 771 remains.
Small mistakes, Rich, back up against the wall.
And the EQ cycle from Sub, just trying to prepare for the mad dash at the end.
I mean, LCOP ran into this exact same problem yesterday, but unfortunately for his opponent, they made just a small misplay. He knows this is about to be EQ cycled out to lose lose this game, but this is the last-ditch effort for LCOP. He needs to make something happen with that Evo battle ramp.
Evo Pekka at the bridge. Evo battle ram trying to sneak through. Tesla back in cycle though, and it does pick up. Mother Witch on the right.
Delivery on top, there it is. That's gonna do it, Rich.
Oh my word, 35 seconds left. The last ditch effort for Elsiop. The Evo Tesla holding here at the bridge. Can he beat it out? Fireball down, nothing to open up.
352, 192 has to catch that Fire Spirit. Second set of Peggy's in. There's no way to stop it.
This is gonna be it. And Sub takes the win.
Our former world champion has been eliminated. Our first world champion after a tough day one. He stays alive till the end of day two, as does Sub. Moving on to day three.
And Sub just biding his time, recognizing some of the tough decisions he was forcing out of Elsiop. Had to keep on using Fireball on the board to break through. In the end, it came for Sub.
Oh my gosh, what a day for Sub. I can't imagine what's going through his mind. Let's find out, Juice.
Everybody is so impressed with how you keep your composure. How are you able to stay so calm in those difficult situations?
Estou impressionado com a sua compostura. Como conseguiu ficar calmo nas situações mais difíceis?
Eu me pergunto às vezes também, né? A felicidade fala mais alto, mas eu acho bom comemorar antes da hora e depois da vitória pode comemorar assim.
I find that I shouldn't like commemorate before the win, so I just waited until the final moment to commemorate.
Awesome. My next question is simply, why, or what were you thinking when you just played Pekka in the back first play?
O que pensou quando o Elsiop jogou a Pekka na Torre do Rei na primeira jogada?
Sinceramente, eu dei risada, obviamente, né? Quem assistiu a partida viu, mas é uma jogada que hoje em dia está normal e hoje em dia é uma jogada.
Honestly, I thought the play was very good, and everyone has been doing that. So yes, it was very good.
Give it up one more time for Sub!
So Rich, you're telling me that if I played Pekka in the back first play, I could maybe make it to CRL World Finals as a player?
I'm gonna say no. No, that's physically impossible for the majority of us, but great, they can get it done. And a big shout out to our last minute translator stepping in to make sure we get some insights from Sub, and we appreciate your extra help out there.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we were all dying to hear what was going through his mind throughout the day. So now that he's able to celebrate his win, yesterday I heard that he was trying to keep it all together on stage. We saw a little bit more of a smile out of Sub today, knowing he's going to day three.
Well, that's a big win, right? It's not like Elsiop made it still execute in those moments, but I think you talked about the composure. We talked about it down there as well. Sub just keeping it together and playing mistake-free class that could blow up in his face.
And the other thing about this deck that we didn't really talk about is you don't really have that stun that you have usually with this deck, right? Whether it's the Ice Spirit or the Log, something like that. So that was another really impressive thing that Sub was able to put together. He opted DPS, and I think that was exactly the way to go.
Yeah, the Mother Witch was always being right at the bridge, and we saw those deliveries taking care of it. You know, hindsight is 2020, and I bet you Elsiop's going to go back and watch that game and go, what could I have done a little differently here to make that work?
Yeah, it's so tough because I think he saw so much damage coming early. That first Mother Witch plus Royal Ghost push, right? Yeah. And he's coming in with the Royal Ghost, and it just ended up being something that kind of was distracting in the rest of the game.
Well, let's take a look at our caster predictions as I finally get one wrong after a tremendous run. Oh, I did get Ta wrong as well.
Oh, why do I always have to come in second or third? I just need one win in my life, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice work by Juicy J with the content pick in our first one.
Yeah, we're going to call him out. He said he just wanted to pick Pedro because he wanted to go against the grain, so I'm not going to give him that. It's like a half point, Juicy.
All of us agreeing on... I'm sad to see the end of Elsiop, but we have our final four, Andrew, the potential champion.
Wow.
The next champion will be here with us tomorrow as we have an interesting road where two of the guys are just 2 potential wins away. Sub and Luke, a lot of work to do.
I mean, Rich, when we looked at this tournament, this 1-2-3, as you see it, Mohammed, Light, Riley, and Lucas, was probably something that a lot of people were anticipating, hoping for, expecting. Sub, he's the dark horse here. For me, for anyone else, I am so... The consistency has translated to a wonderful performance on the World Finals stage.
And what a treat we have tomorrow. We get to start things off with this phenomenal matchup of Mohammed, Light, and Riley, guys who have been, they're such close friends. We'll be talking about that all day tomorrow. It's gonna be a whole lot of fun. I cannot wait to get into it. Let's do it right now. Let's wrap up the day so we can all go to sleep and see our finals tomorrow.
It was about as crazy as it could possibly get. Mohammed Light was able to continue his dominance. You know, I'd say like we all expected. Riley was able to stay in the upper bracket with a close win over Sub. Lucas, he wasn't all too happy with his gameplay, but I know he's ecstatic to make day 3. And Sub, we just saw it, staying cold as ice, beating LCO.
The games were so close today. Everyone was a nail-biter. We said goodbye to 3 players. Today and tomorrow, we will crown our champion. Same time, same place, for day 3 of the Clash Royale League World Finals tomorrow.